how to harvest your desire. There are 7 steps to receiving anything that you desire from the Lord. Now, in the past, I've taught a complete series called The New Way of Blessing, in which I outlined in some detail how we can tap into what God has put into our spirits and to create a life of blessing. The Way of Blessing is a very powerful series, and if you've never read it, I suggest that you get it. But I found that most people find that there's so much in the Way of Blessing that they can't remember it all. And they find it difficult to take the principles and apply it to their normal life. So as I waited on the Lord, I asked Him to give me a more simple presentation of the same kind of principles, but to present them in a form in which most people can understand them more easily and remember them and apply them practically. And the Lord showed me that I should use 7 principles, 7 points, 7 steps that we can use to receiving what we desire from the Lord. And so in this teaching, I'm going to present these 7 steps to you. These are principles that you can use in any area of life. Now, I'm not going to try and cover the many different areas, although I'll mention a few as we go. But later on, I'm going to take this foundational teaching, which you are getting here, and I'm going to apply it to many different areas of desire and goals and dreams that people may have, and show you how to actually take these principles and apply them to whatever it is that you desire from the Lord. So this is our flagship teaching. I want you to understand it very clearly. I want you to remember it. I want you to go over it again and again until it is totally saturated in your heart and mind, and that you will never forget the principles. Now, to try and help you understand and remember it better, the Lord told me I should use the concept of sowing and reaping, which we know is a universal law. Whatever you sow, that will you reap. And Jesus told a very famous parable, the parable of the sower. The sower went forth to sow seed, and as he threw seed on different kinds of soil, it had different effects. And so with these pictures in mind, I would like to present you now with these 7 steps to harvesting whatever you desire from the Lord. Now, I'm going to mention the 7 right up front so that you don't have to wait until the end. And then along the way, I'm going to remind you, and I'm going to review. And I hope by the time we get to the end, you'll be so filled with these that if I were to wake you up at 3 o'clock in the morning and ask you, what are the 7 steps to harvesting your desire, you'll be able to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. If you can't get there, try playing this preaching while you're asleep. They say that it goes into the subconscious. Put an audio on and let it play while you're asleep, and see if you can wake up 3 o'clock in the morning and remember all of them. Whatever it does, get these things into your spirit, because they will transform your life. Here then are the 7 steps. Number 1, develop a core desire. Number 2, know your rights. Number 3, prepare your ground. Number 4, sow and water. Number 5, deal with opposition. Number 6, grow your harvest. Number 7, reap your harvest. Now, most of those are very clear pictures that we can remember, because you've probably planted seeds and made a garden at some stage or another. But I'm going to try and just give you some pictures to remember these 7. Because if I were to ask you now to repeat those 7, how many can remember them? Okay, I see by a show of hands that nobody can remember them. Nothing wrong. Okay, so let me paint you some pictures. We'll try and help you remember them. Okay, number 1, develop a core desire. Well, think of a core. The easiest core I can think of is the core of an apple. You know the part after you've eaten the whole apple and it's left and you throw it away? Okay, core desire. Remember the core. Know your rights. Well, the best picture I have of this is, you know, you see on these movies where the policeman is about to arrest the crook. And as he arrests him and puts the handcuffs on him, He says, you have the right to remain silent. Anything that you say can and will be used in a court of law. He reads him his rights. Okay? You need to know your rights. Number 3, prepare the ground. Well, depending on how big your garden is, you can either think of one of these great big graders that goes in and digs the soil and turns it over, or you could just think of a one-man job where you take a pick and a shovel and you start digging the ground and breaking it up and opening it and preparing it. Why? Because we're going to plant some seeds. We're going to make a garden. So you must prepare the ground before you can make your garden. And then once you prepared the ground, you're going to sow seeds and you're going to water them. Well, depending on how big your garden is, perhaps you're planting big seeds and you can go and stick them in one at a time with your thumb under the ground, cover it up with soil, and then you come with your watering can, walk all the way to the tap, fill it, come, pour your watering can over. Okay, maybe you stand with a hose. Maybe you're really fancy and you've got a sprinkler system you can just switch on and it waters every day automatically. Whatever it is, think now of planting seeds and watering them. Planting seeds, can you see the picture? Core desire, the apple core, your rights. Somebody being read their rights when they're arrested. Breaking up the ground, pick and shovel, sowing the seeds and watering them. Number 5, deal with opposition. Well, what's the opposition to your plants? If you ever try to grow a garden, you'll notice that from somewhere, who knows where, all these bugs appear on your plant and start attacking it and eating it. And you've got these insects who want to come and sting the fruit when it starts to form. They come and chew and attack. You've got caterpillars who want to come and eat the leaves. You've got all these creatures coming to attack your plants. Okay, you must deal with these things that are opposing the growth. You must deal with them, overcome them, get rid of them. Okay, so dealing with the opposition. And then growing the harvest. How are we going to grow the harvest? Well, the first thing we need to do, we've been watering, we planted the seed, as we must just leave it. As the plants come out, we must leave the sun to shine on it. Because as the sun shines on those plants, they begin to mature. And as the fruit or whatever it is comes out, the sun begins to ripen it. And so the sunshine, which causes the photosynthesis that takes place in plants, the reproduction and the growth that takes place in a plant, requires a lot of sunshine. So we must leave your plants in the sun. Leave them in the sun. Can you see the picture? You're taking a walk through your garden. It's a beautiful sunny day. And you can see the leaves are beautiful, bright green. And whatever it is you're growing is beginning to show. You realize that your garden is growing beautifully. But is it ready yet for you to pick? Be careful. Have a good look. Check your garden out. Let it grow. Let it grow. Grow your harvest. Grow it until it reaches the final stage. And that's step number 7. When it's ready, you reap your harvest. How are you going to reap it? Well, it depends. You may want to pick fruit by hand. You may need some kind of clippers or something to cut it. You may need a fork to pull it out of the ground if it's something that grows under the ground. Whatever it is, you're going to reap your harvest. So, core desire. We got an apple core. Know your rights. Somebody's been arrested. He's been read his rights. Prepare the ground. Pick and shovel, grader, whatever it takes. Sow your seeds. Plant them. Water them with a watering can. Deal with the bugs and the insects that attack. Let your harvest grow in the sun. Keep your eye on it. Make sure that it's growing and leave it to grow until it reaches maturity. Then get in there and reap your harvest. Pretty simple, isn't it? Can you remember all of those stages now? We'll review them as we go and see how well you can remember them. Let's look at number 1. Developing a core desire. What is a core desire? A core desire is something that burns inside of you, something that you intensely wish and desire in life or from the Lord. Now, this is a lot more than visualization. If I were to ask you right now, what is your greatest desire? What do you desire more than anything else? If you now have to close your eyes and try and visualize it and see it, I don't think it's a core desire yet. It's got to be something far deeper than that. It must be something that's been burning in you for years. It's a dream that you've had for a long time. You've visualized and seen this thing in vision. Pictures keep popping up in your mind. Everywhere you turn, you see this thing. This is a core desire. Now, there's a story that's told that I believe illustrates this very nicely. The story is told of a young man who really wanted to succeed, but he seemed to battle in everything that he did. And he thought, if I could just find out the key principles of success, I know that if I did that, I would succeed. And he saw a man who had risen up in the community, who was wealthy and highly successful. And he thought, if only I could get to meet this man and ask him what the secret to his success is, maybe I can find that secret and finally become successful. But he couldn't get to this man. There's always people around him. He was high up. And one day, fate stepped in, if you want to see it from the world point of view. And he saw this man fishing at a riverside. He just happened to go past, and he saw this man fishing. He thought, here's my chance. He's all alone. So he walked carefully up to the man and said, is it all right if I speak with you? And the guy turned and he said, yes, sure. He said, I've wanted to meet you for so long, and I just want to ask you one simple question. What is the key, the main key to your success? The old man looked at him and he smiled, and he put his rod down and he said, come with me. And he stepped into the river. He said, come, follow me. And the young man stepped into the river with him. And as they stepped into the river, suddenly the old man took this young guy and he shoved his head under the water and he held him there. And he was struggling, but he held him under the water for a long time. And then he pulled him out. And the young guy said, he was gasping for air. And after he got his breath back again, he shoved him under the water again for a bit longer. Not long enough so he could drown, but long enough so that he could really struggle. Then eventually he let the young guy out and he walked out of the river. The young man lay there panting for about 15, 20 minutes, trying to get his breath back. And he said, what was that all about? He said, I will answer your question on the key to success. But first, you must answer my question. He said, when you were there in the water and I was holding you under the water, what was the most important thing in your mind? What was the greatest desire that you had right then? He said, to be able to get some air and breathe. He said, exactly. He said, and when your desire for success is as strong as your desire was right then to get a breath of fresh air, then you will succeed. Very simple little principle. How strong is your desire? Is it so consuming that you can think of nothing else? Well, when this guy was under the water, he was thinking of only one thing. I need a breath of fresh air. I need, if only I could get some fresh air. He wasn't worrying about success anymore. He wasn't worrying about anything in the water. He was just worried about one thing. He had one desire that was consuming him right then, and he was going to do everything in his power to get that breath of fresh air. Well, if you want to find out whether you've got a core desire or not, let me ask you, do you have a desire that drives you to the same extent as what this man faced when he was under the water? If you don't have that desire, then you may have a strong desire, but you do not have a core desire. A core desire is a consuming passion. It's something you think about all the time. And it's something that you're going to talk about. You're going to talk about it. Now, talking about it helps because when we speak words, words come up from our spirit. Words are always colored by what comes from our spirit. Only human beings can speak words because only human beings have spirits. Animals can't speak words. They don't have spirits. So when you are speaking words, those words are actually connected with your spirit that's within. And when you speak words, that inner influence coming up from your spirit starts to control your mind. Those words start to control your mind. And while you're speaking, you're seeing. while you're speaking, the pictures are forming in your mind. So if you have a desire, one of the ways to keep that desire very strongly in your mind until it becomes a consuming passion is to talk about it all the time. Until eventually people are saying, I'm tired of hearing you talk about this thing that you're going to do. Will you please shut up and talk about something else? And you say, no, I've got to talk about it. I've got to talk about it. There was a young guy who really wanted a watch for his birthday. And he was nagging his dad and his mom for the watch. Oh, please, can I have a watch? Please, can I have a watch? Until eventually his dad said, look, I'm sick and tired of hearing about the watch. If I hear you ask for that watch once again, you're not going to get it, okay? Oh, he wanted to talk about it. He could. It was such a strain. And the one day, they had family devotions. And his dad said, Johnny, you can read the scripture tonight. Read us the scripture. Well, he knew straight away which scripture it was. It's the one that says, what I say unto one, I say unto all, watch. He got the message across. And they couldn't judge him because it was scripture, right? You see, it was so strong in him. It was such a passion in him. He couldn't stop talking about it. Do you have such a core desire? Are you talking all the time about what you desire and what you're going to do when you get the desire and how things are going to be when you have it? To the point where eventually people are tired of hearing it. This is a good thing. It's a consuming passion. Now, once you get there, just give it a little bit of time because you may find your desire changing a little bit. As you grow older, it could change a little bit. As your circumstances change, as your work changes, as your spiritual life grows and you may become more mature, you may find that your desire gets a little bit modified until eventually you can see that this thing is burning hot inside you. It's taken years to develop, and you know that this is not going to leave you. Okay. Now, how many of these desires should we have? Well, it's not easy to have that kind of passion for a whole pile of desires, is it? Preferably one main core desire. You may be able to manage another one or two at the most of slightly lesser desires, but there's going to be one core desire. It's going to be 100%. Start to work on those first. Get your core desire, the apple core. Once you've got your core desire, you have a starting point now to fulfilling and to harvesting that desire.